10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! Here we go. We're on our way to get lunch now this morning with my brother, and he's driving. We're in Marrickville right now. Look! Chanel's getting a piggyback ride. She loves it. Stay to Chanel. We're going to find a place to eat around here in Marrickville. Anybody recommend a good place here in Marrickville? Because Hello Auntie is actually closed at the moment, and one of the pork roll places are closed too. We're going to find somewhere. So we found a place here in Marrickville. I always see this place kind of, busy, and it's outdoors, and it's called Vietnam Street Foods. We're gonna have a look at the menu now and see what's on there, because we're starving. They've got coconut juice here. Okay, this is I suppose, call it a quote, call it a statement, but I'll share this one with you guys. Just be yourself, your quirky self, the imperfect, flawed, weird, beautiful, magical self, because that's who you are. And you just need to share that gift with the world. You don't need to be, I suppose the word is perfect, but we are all perfect. And Rajan puts that in me, and he says, you are perfect as long as you progress. And I love that. So I thought that was worth to share with you guys. So I'm all about practicing self-care, and there's 50 ways, and I'm going to have to write it in my blog to share with you guys to know, how to look after yourself and your well-being. So I'll give you a few tips. My number one is pick up something that you've always wanted to do. That is the best way to get yourself out of your comfort zone, but also doing something that you actually love. Number two would be meditating. And that's just taking time out, zoning out, and just doing nothing, literally thinking about nothing, and just being in awareness and consciously within yourself and center aligning your soul. The other self-care would be taking up yoga, and I fell into yoga by accident, and I absolutely love yoga because it's centering and aligning my body, helping with fixing my posture, building confidence within myself, and I'm around a supportive environment that actually allows me to do that. So they're my top 3 tips for self-care. And really look after yourself, because if you can't look after yourself, how are you able to look after your friends and your family and the people around you? No, Jules. You happy? Very happy? How happy? How many stars?
100.
100 stars?
Yeah.
Yum.
I am not eating.
It looks like a traditional Hanoi food, right?
Hi.
She's feeling sleepy now. When we arrived in Australia, we actually ended up living in Marrickville in the first 3 years before we actually moved out to Earlwood. So Marrickville, it's an area where there's a lot of Vietnamese people who settled here in the beginning. Back in 1982, we actually settled here. Marrickville hasn't changed hugely much. It's just, the churches are still there. Some of the fabric shops are still there. Just more new shops, restaurants.
More restaurants.
We're out here playing golf again. It's our usual Sunday afternoon routine, and with my brother. We're at a different driving range here. We're at Tempe, near the airport, so we can actually see the airplanes departing, like coming down and going up. Chanel, what are you playing?
Candy Crush.
Playing Candy Crush.
I like this game.
Do you?
Yes.
Alright, have fun.
Yay.
Just cleaning the ground that's on here. I actually wanted to do one about toxic people. How do you get rid of toxic people out of your life? And this is what I'm gonna say. One of my videos for 100 Day Empower Your Spirit, I did a video on how do you deal with toxic people, and then I did one for Empower TV, how do you deal with toxic people, and it seems to be a conversation that is needed, and it is really important to identify the different types of toxic people in your life. So there's different types of toxic people out there, and I want you guys to be fully aware, because I used to be surrounded by toxic people, and to this day I had to remove them. I had empathy, but they got to a stage where I couldn't take it anymore. It was killing my energy. So I had to take it in my turn to see if I can help them, understand where they're coming from, and see if I can actually help them. Some people can't be helped. They just don't want to be helped. And I need you to look at your circumstance. There are people who vary depending on the degree level, but there are people who are, they can be just really soft, sort of negative, toxic people, or they're just very extreme. And I've had both spectrums of the scale. So there are different types of gossip people. So different types of toxic people. One of them would be gossip mongers, people who actually talk behind your back, people who talk about things and don't tell you to your face. I've come across those people, and I had to find out what it is exactly that is their problem. I had to have empathy. You don't need to cut all toxic people out of your life. You just need to understand why they've become this, because they do have a background, they do have some sort of struggles, that they do have a story themselves. Maybe not struggles, but well, I think they do. But there's something behind their journey that has made them become like this. They're hopelessly self-destructive. So kind of like the people from Days of Our Lives, that they have to do something to cause drama in your life, in the people's life, in their life. They just love drama. When it's all quiet, they're just going to create something. And that's something I don't do. Nah. There are people who are, I suppose, emotional vampires, who want to suck the life and criticize everything that you actually do. So psychological, maybe verbal words that can cause harm, can cause you to lose that energy. So, you know, if it's making you tired, and you realize these are the sort of people that's criticizing about everything that you do and not see the opportunities and positive side of things that you actually do, that's something you need to question. The other sort of negative people would be the people who have this really good look on the outside. So they're all shiny and they look like they're perfect, but deep down inside that they're not. And in all honesty, if you told them the truth about certain things, they actually crush. So when they crush, it's kind of like, oh, hold on, they want to spit back with, you know, defensive words. But if I'm trying to tell them in a way just to help them to be better in a certain situation or a certain current issue or anything, they take offense to it. So they don't like to hear, because they always think that they're actually right. The other sort of toxic people that I want you guys to understand are the ones who are physically abusive. They are toxic. If they continue to harm you in a certain way, that is not the way to live. They're not the right people to be around. They do have a lot of anger issues. They tend to not want to face that they have issues and that they are not the problem. But they really need professional help, and they can only get it when they are ready. And someone who is a third person coming from you, if you're telling them, you're the one who is the victim, it is hard to actually tell them. So I would actually take a step back, have a look at your life and go, is this what my life is going to turn out? Is this how I want? So your life is turned out to be like that, if that's the case. But do you want your life to continue to be like that in a situation, in a relationship or in a friendship, that they are abusive, physically abusive? Because that's harm. That's harmful to your body. It's harmful to your spirit. I need you to really look at that. The other sort of toxic people can be people who take soft to hard drugs. So if they're drinking constantly and they're on drugs and they're high constantly, or even just a small amount, it and they're influencing you as well, that's probably not the best way of hanging out with these people on a regular basis, because drugs are harmful and we all know that, and we need to stay away from looking into on a continual basis being around these sort of people, because it's detrimental. That drugs can harm your spirit. You're not seeing the light of things. And I always say to these people and question, is this how you see happiness? Is this is your life not happy? Is that why you're on drugs? And you have to question it. It's a big thing. And if they're continuously drinking, they're continuously taking drugs, it's not an environment to be in. And when you're drinking on a constant basis, it's actually, you're masking a pain to a lot of these people, and they just enjoy it, and that's fair enough. That's their life. But do you want to do that? Do you want to continue to be wasting your money on drugs and alcohol constantly? Once you find out what sort of toxic people, you can actually vary the nature of your connectiveness. I suppose the regular amount of seeing each other, seeing them. If they're drinking regularly, do you need to drink regularly? If that's the case, then you just need to take a step back and go, look, I can only see you guys. Or you don't need to tell them, you just don't see them, as often as you used to. Say you're busy, you've got other things to do. If it's people who are gossip mongers, you might just want to, you can still see them, but you might just want to step back from being in that conversation. If you're in a very severe domestic violence sort of relationship there, I suggest you actually take a big step back and relook at your life and see whether this is something that you want to continue with, because I had to do that with my life. I had to pick up my bags and go, this is not for me. This is not the way I wanted my life. And I had to say no to violence. And it may take you some time to see that and to accept that, but the earlier you see the signs and the symptoms and the problems, the better that you need to really acknowledge the issue and fix it. So I hope you guys had a valuable moment with me today. So hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Come back again.